Let me give you a story. Um, what have you been waiting on to come out of your comfort zone for? How long have you been mediocre? How long have you been doing the same thing over and over again, but yet you're expecting different results, but you don't get it? Oftentimes, what we do is that in our fear, we're scared to come out of our comfort zone because coming out of our comfort zone simply suggests that we need to work. And sometimes, in order to get blessed, yeah, you have to work. You have to do something different than you've ever done in your entire life. When you look at Matthew chapter 14, there's a story of Jesus and the disciples. Jesus goes to be by himself to pray. Now, as I pause right here and say that if you pay attention to that particular scripture, Jesus goes by himself to pray. Sometimes you can't carry everyone with you. And maybe for many of you, the reason why you have not been able to get to where you need to be and as slow as it's taking, you're saying, you know what, God, I feel the need to let my mother know. I have to let my family know. I have to let everybody know what I'm doing. Sometimes you need a season by yourself so you can focus on you and most importantly, focus on God. Jesus literally goes and he prays all by himself. The disciples go on the ship. And as the disciples go on the ship, there's a storm that comes. And as the storm comes, of course, them being experienced fishermen, they panic because no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been around, oftentimes situations will come that you were familiar with in the past, but now it seems to be hard to really deal with. So now these experienced fishermen are in a storm. And as they're in the storm, they're simply saying, okay, God, what in the world's going on? Help us. Jesus comes. And as he comes out on the water, Peter takes a look out. Now, of course, before Peter takes a look out, they're still in fear. These experienced fishermen, they're still in fear. They take a look out and they see that it's someone out there on the water. They don't know that it's Jesus. Someone says, oh, it's a ghost. Oftentimes in your fear, oftentimes in the process of life, you'll imagine things that aren't even there simply because you're scared. But what happens is that they say that it's a ghost. Peter is willing to come away from everybody else's opinion. And he said, Lord, if it's you, bid me to come to you. And Jesus says, it's me, just come. And what Peter does is that he jumps up, he goes out towards Jesus. But you need to go back to something and revisit this. If you look in the particular text, what happens is that he comes out from among the other disciples. No doubt that there are opinions from the other disciples. Who is it? Why are you going out there? What's the purpose of going out there? You don't know if it's Jesus. You don't know. Why are you trying to go out there? Are you trying to be bigger than us? And oftentimes when you're on a quest to get to God, sometimes there'll be people that will throw those obstacles at you. But here it is. When you're trying to get to God, sincerely get to God, you don't value the opinions of people. Because oftentimes for many of us, we live our entire lives based on the opinions of people. Why are you concerned about people who don't pay your bills? Why are you concerned about people who have not healed your body? But we get so caught up in the disease to please that we feel the need to get everyone's input. Peter says, I'm not paying attention to anybody's mouth. I'm going to get to Jesus. But watch what happens as he begins to go outside. It says that there's a storm that's getting stronger. And even though the storm is getting stronger, Jesus is walking on the water. I need to pause and tell anybody watching right now that while you're worried about your storm, while you're worried about your circumstances, while you're worried about the situation that you're going through, Jesus is walking on that too. See, the problem is that we want to relegate Jesus to being just like us. So when we handle our trials, we figure that we're strong enough and sometimes stronger than God to handle the trial. But no, the same storm that you've always had to deal with, he has power over that too. He's walking on the waves. As he's walking on the waves, Peter looks at Jesus and he says, come here. And Peter begins to walk. And what happens is that as he begins to walk, he begins to look at the storm. He begins to look at the water. And now his focus is off Jesus. I said all of that today to simply ask you a question. In your quest to get to God, when God helps you to do the miraculous, when God helps you to walk on your proverbial water, my question is, are you doing it for God or are you doing it to be seen? Because Peter, like many of us, could have easily said, hey, you guys, look at me. I'm walking on water. His focus was off and he began to sink. Who is it in your life that you need to disconnect from their opinion, disconnect from their ideologies? But most of all, who is it that you need to have a serious talk to about if they're in your corner or not. Peter disregards everybody on the boat and he comes off of the boat and he goes to Jesus. He comes out of his comfort zone. Maybe the reason why you have not achieved what you've been trying to achieve all these years is that you're afraid to come out of your comfort zone. You want to open the business, but you're scared. You want to go ahead and be divorced and be free so you can be free from dysfunction, but you're scared. You're wanting to hold close to family who's done nothing but break you all of your life. When you take the time to come out of your comfort zone, you would be surprised of the miraculous things that happen. Peter had enough courage to come out of the comfort zone, go to Jesus. He does something that no one biblically had ever done before. You have to have a mindset to say that in order for me to get something different, I have to do something different. But as long as you stay in your comfort zone, you're going to keep shedding the same tears for the same people.